In 1997, a man in California started buying Beanie Babies, small stuffed animals, $5 each at retail. He wasn't buying them for his kids. He was buying them as an investment, convinced that these toys were going to fund college tuition for his 5 children. By 1999, he had spent over $100,000 and owned 20,000 of them. His son later made a documentary about it. He called it Bankrupt by Beanies. What happened to that man is one of the cleanest demonstrations of supply and demand ever recorded. The company behind Beanie Babies, Ty Incorporated, had figured something out. When they discontinued a toy, instead of calling it discontinued, they called it retired, one word. That single change in language transformed a $5 stuffed animal into a scarce collectible. Retired meant limited supply. Limited supply meant rising prices. Rising prices meant people bought more, faster, before the window closed. By 1998, eBay was doing $500 million a month in Beanie Baby transactions. People were stealing them from stores. Divorced couples were fighting over them in court. A woman in New York put her entire $12,000 life savings into the toys. Then, in 1999, Ty made a mistake. They increased production. More Beanie Babies flooded the market. Supply exceeded demand. Prices stopped rising. The moment prices stopped rising, the speculation stopped. The moment speculation stopped, demand collapsed. Within months, toys that had sold for hundreds of dollars were worthless. The man in California was left with 20,000 stuffed animals and no way to pay for his children's education. The mechanism that built that bubble and then destroyed it in the same motion is the same mechanism that has shaped every economy in human history. Supply is the total amount of something available in a market. Demand is how much people want it and can pay for it. When supply is tight and demand is strong, prices rise. When supply floods in, prices fall. This is not complicated. What is complicated is how completely it governs everything around you and how deliberately it gets manipulated by the people who understand it. They were doing this with flowers in 1637. Dutch traders were selling tulip bulbs for 10 times a craftsman's annual salary, not because tulips were useful, but because certain varieties were rare and fashionable, and everyone assumed the price would keep climbing. The moment one auction in the city of Haarlem failed to find a buyer, the belief collapsed and prices fell 99% in days. The flowers were always just flowers. It was the supply and demand dynamic underneath that had given them their value, and that dynamic broke. In 1973, Arab oil-producing nations cut off oil exports to the United States. Oil prices went from $3 a barrel to nearly $12. Gasoline that had cost 34 cents a gallon jumped to 84 cents. Americans lined up around city blocks just to fill their tanks. Rationing was introduced across states. The entire economy lurched into recession. The global supply of oil hadn't disappeared. It had just been restricted enough, deliberately enough, to send everything downstream into chaos. Then there is De Beers. Diamonds are one of the most common gemstones on Earth. The planet is full of them. But in 1888, a group of mine owners in South Africa bought up nearly every diamond mine on the continent and built a system to control how many diamonds reached the market at any given time. At its peak, De Beers controlled 90% of the world's diamond supply. When surpluses built up, they stored them in vaults rather than let them sell. They kept supply permanently below demand. Then in 1947 they launched a marketing campaign, "A Diamond is Forever," and convinced an entire civilization that this common compressed carbon was the only acceptable proof of love. They engineered both sides of the equation simultaneously. Supply, owned, demand, manufactured. That is the part most people never see. The law of supply and demand is neutral. The inputs are not. The people who understand this well enough do not participate in markets. They build the conditions that everyone else is forced to operate inside. Your rent didn't go up because your landlord is greedy. It went up because more people want to live in your city than there are apartments available, and nobody is building fast enough to close that gap. Your salary hasn't kept pace with your cost of living because in most industries, the supply of workers has grown faster than the demand for them. The price of the medication you need is what it is because one company owns the patent and controls the only supply that exists. Somewhere behind every price you pay, someone is managing the supply side of the equation, and it was never you.